So I'm just going to give you a kind of look around. Would it be cliche if I said base camp? So we're up in the Himalayas for the launch of the Enfield Himalaya. We're just about to do the technical briefing, but what they've done is kind of created a very cool presentation area. Over there is the snow, and we are kind of one side of the Himalayas. We've got like a bar over there, some food hopefully for later, and down this way is the new bikes, because they've done 5,500 kilometers, 24 riders, 3 motorcycles. That was kind of like the final test. So we just finished the technical presentation on the new Himalayan, and it's a massive transformation for Enfield. Completely new chassis, completely new engine, completely new everything. There's nothing really that transfers from the old bike to the new bike, and the jumping power is it's massive. Considerably more torque, considerably more power, considerably more revs. We've got loads more tech with a complete new dash with Bluetooth connectivity. New brakes which are bigger, redesigned fuel tank, lowered seat. This is a really huge, big effort by Royal Enfield. This is really putting the bike up there with the competition. We don't know prices yet, but we're going to ride the bike tomorrow. I am wrapped up in as many layers as possible because we are at with the base of the Himalayas. We're at pretty high altitude and it is freezing. But yeah, looking forward to riding tomorrow. We've got 2 days of riding, so I'll give you an update tomorrow. But for tonight, it's time for maybe a little bit of a whiskey to warm me up, and time for bed. So we're just about to start day 1 of the Royal Enfield Himalayan exclusive launch here in the Himalayas. This is day 1, very early. The sun's just coming up over the mountains in the background, just covered in snow. Let me show you a little bit more of the bike. So this is going to be my bike for the day. Completely new platform for Royal Enfield, completely new engine, new chassis, new brakes, new swing, everything is completely new. Big jumping power, big jumping technology, and we've got a full day on test. So as you can see in the background, the sun is just coming up over the mountains. I've got about 20 layers of kit on because it's going to be cold, but this journey is going to be epic. So we're well up into the mountains now, as you can tell behind us. This is one of the remotest Royal Enfield dealers in the world. We just stopped here for a little coffee kind of break, just to warm up a little. It is very cold. We just did this huge tunnel which was about 10 kilometers long, and then that just goes through the mountains. But yeah, it is incredible. The bike so far, first impressions, so much more refined than the old bike, so much more power, so much more better brakes, so much more better everything. But at the moment it's really difficult to kind of test the bike because I'm so busy looking for stray cows, stray dogs, people walking into the streets, trucks with no brakes. It's kind of not intimidating, it's hugely enjoyable place to ride, but you're so in tune with everything else you forget about what you're doing. I didn't really know what to expect of the Himalayas. You know, you read books about it, you watch documentaries, but its actual beauty, you got that, it's kind of, well, just, I don't know, it's like forestry, and then beautiful, smiley, happy people, colourful buildings hung onto the side of the hills, and then every time you look up you've just got this dramatic, just awe-inspiring, well it's not Everest, but it's Himalayas. And look at it. much as I want to talk about the bike, I've actually just spent a lot of my time riding around, my jaw open at the amazing scenery. It is absolutely beautiful. Starting to warm up because we've come down off the mountains. We've got a bit of snow in the background, but we're still at about 9,000 feet. A bit breathless when you're running up and down the hills, but next time is the off-road section. So we're just going to grab some coffee, a little bit of sandwich, a little bit of food, and we go again. Right. We are kind of, apparently, on one of the most dangerous roads in the world. So I've got it in performance, which is basically full power, turn the ABS off the rear, and then just jump around. Whoa, that's a big rock. Look at that road. I don't actually know where I'm going, but we'll just see how it goes. Woo. I tell you what, it's handling it really well. The bars could do to be a little bit higher, and the mirrors get a little bit in the way of your forearms, but the narrowness of the seat, the shape of the tank, all works. Oh shit. And it's not oh Jesus, it's not intimidating. How am I going to pass this guy? There we go. Go for it like that. Through the water, no worse. Oh Jesus, that was a big one. So again, it's like, supposedly, woo, it's just a little bit playful. Oh, a little bit. My left foot's a bit wet. I should have maybe not gone through that water splash. Slow down for the big truck. Don't drop off the edge. So supposedly this is, well, look at it. It's a sheer drop. One-way road. There's buses coming the other way. It is, yeah, interesting, shall we say. But I've got the trusty Himalayan. This is where it was designed, this is where it's made. So we're going to go for a bit of a cruise along. This is crazy. Over the bridge. So the idea is if somebody comes around the corner, something big like a bus, then they should sound the horn. But look how far the road goes.
Woo! A little bit of a traffic jam. One bus. That's a lot of dust. Yes. Look at that, when in India. It's just quite an easy bike to ride actually. The power's like really nice for this type of terrain, it's not too intimidating. I'd like to be bars a little bit higher, but there are some optional bars. But I almost want to forget about making any criticisms of this bike. Oh, look at that drop. Because I am just enjoying riding this bike on the world's most dangerous road apparently. I can kind of see why. Oh shit, you won't want to get it wrong. Oh, look at that, get that wrong. Imagine this on a night time. This is a road. You don't pack such a freaking heavy rucksack. There's no traction, but got ABS. Just use the gearbox. That. I think it was this way. We'll find out.
So we're just wrapping up day one. Let me show you the bikes. So as you can tell, we've done quite a bit today. They've been treated hard, but it's an Enfield Himalaya. We're in the Himalayas. That's what it's designed to be. Really impressed how far Enfield have moved the game along. Big differences compared to the old bike. It's much more accessible. Feels smaller, feels lighter, a lot more power. On paperweight, the weight isn't actually that much difference. It's 2 or 3 kilograms lighter, but the engine itself is 10 kilograms lighter. But other aspects are heavier because we've got like bigger brakes, bigger discs, bigger fuel tank. Comfort has got to be worth a mention because I've spent all day, like 8:30 till 5 o'clock in the saddle. No complaints, no qualms. Suspension is actually quite plush. It's quite soft and manageable, but it handles it when you go reasonably quick. And off-road, it was equally impressive. Nice stance. Again, it's just picking a few little niggles. You know, I'd want the bars a little bit higher. I'd want the mirrors a bit further away. I'd like a little bit more power to have fun with. But these are like tiny little niggles that you don't expect from this type of bike. Tomorrow's another day. We're trying more off-road tomorrow. We're trying more on-road tomorrow. Really looking forward to it. What an amazing place to ride a bike, and thanks to Enfield for inviting us, because it's a brave move to say this can take on the roughest terrain in the world, but so far it has done. So it's day 2 Himalayan adventure on the new Enfield Himalayan, as you can tell by the bikes behind us. I saw a sign back there at 10,000 feet and we just kept climbing, so it must be about 11,000 feet. And due to the fact I'm out of breath every time I do some steps and some walking, means, yeah, we must be pretty high. The road is empty but perfectly tarmacked. I mean, this is like European kind of Alps kind of tarmac. We're getting much higher, so the snow is not far behind us. But today the idea is that we can test more of the handling on tarmac, and then we've got another off-road section later on. The engine is gasping. The engine really needs some air, and it doesn't have any. So it's probably like 20-30% down on power compared to what it would be at sea level. So we're giving the engine quite a hard time, because we're going really steep uphill. We're up hairpin passes. We're at 11,000 feet. But it's chugging along and doing well, and thank God we've got more power than the old one, because that would have taken us weeks to get up to this altitude.
I do like some of these little towns. You can literally buy anything here. What's that big rock in the middle of the street? Oh, we'll just leave it there. Look at the colours. Oh, speed them. And the trucks are amazing. Oh, somebody's come through that. Sit around.
So we just stopped for lunch on day 2. Got a bit of a barbecue going on over here. We've got the river that we've been following all the way through the valley, and we've been doing a little bit of off-road, a bit of water, a bit of mud. When it's dry, the tyres work really well, but as soon as we get a little bit of mud or a little bit of moisture, it just closes the gaps and you struggle. But it's pretty easy. You're just plodding through. This stuff is kind of, you've got to go quite slow, because you'll be out here in the middle of the Himalayas, in the middle of nowhere, and some jeep comes around the corner just like going bap, 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 bap. So you've got to get out of the way. So you can't treat these tracks like they're one way or there's going to be no traffic, even though we're in the middle of nowhere. But we're going to go further down. I think we're going to try some river crossings. Interestingly, the airbox is way higher than it used to be, so we can go through real deep water, but we shall see.
Jeez, you look up and you're just like, epic. Let's go enjoy the new Enfield Himalayan in its, let's be fair, natural environment, the Himalayas. I mean, look at the scenery. So bright this morning. These little undulations, the suspension holds it really well. I mean, we've got more power. I think there's 65% more torque, but in these hills it needs it. It's just gasping for air. Look at the scenery. The brakes are pretty good. We've got ABS front and rear. We can turn the ABS off if we want. Shame the lever's not adjustable. It's quite a reach for the lever, which is a bit of a shame. And look at that.
So that's it from the Royal Enfield Himalayan adventure, the launch of the new Royal Enfield for 2024 here in the Himalayas. It's taken us 2.5 days, 3 days to get here, but you've got to give hats off to Royal Enfield for putting on such an amazing event, for us to experience this bike in its natural habitat. Now Royal Enfield designed the Himalayan obviously for the Himalayas, and it's proved that. The roads here are so perfectly smooth one time, then amazingly rough, then you're off-road, then you're through water, then it's cold, then it's hot. It has to take everything on, and that's precisely what it's done. It's just plodded along and taken everything we can throw at it. The suspension is non-adjustable front, shower unit with preload on the rear, but never felt the need to change the suspension. Copes well off-road, copes well on-road. The tyres, we've not really pushed the handling to the limit because the road surface here in India, you never know what's around the corner. One time it's a cow, one time it's gravel, sometimes it's perfect smooth tarmac. You just never know. Engine, a big step and a big improvement. It's 10 kilograms lighter, 65% more torque if I remember rightly, 25% more power, 25% more over rev. But we're here at 10,000, 11,000 feet, so we've not had the full benefit of what this engine is going to be like. That'll be interesting when we get it down on sea level. The new dash looks really nice. Personally, I don't think it's that intuitive. It's a little bit fiddly, but it looks really nice, and when you're just running the normal clocks, that's perfectly fine. Only gets a little bit awkward when you try to link it to your phone and use the navigation. Comfort is excellent. Fuel range is longer. We're looking at 450 kilometers now on their quoted range. Fuel tank is bigger. Off-road, it's slimmer, feels more accessible, and it does everything you'd expect it to do. If there was ever a bike that does what it says on the tin, this is it. It kind of reminds me of like a good Land Rover, you know, like a 5 or 10-year-old Land Rover. It just plods along, gets through it, loads of torque, just at 3,000 RPM when you're off road, just roll it along, dead easy to ride, not intimidating. There is multiple rider modes, but to be honest, I don't think you need them, because even with the full power mode in performance, it's dead easy to ride, very user friendly, it's very simple to ride. The big question mark is going to be price. We don't know that yet. I think it's going to be 6,000-ish or a little bit more, which makes it a bit of a bargain. I mean, you could buy 2 of these for the price of a big adventure bike and still have money left over for a proper adventure. It's not going to be as cheap as the original, which I think was like 3.5, 4 grand. But it'd be interesting when we get the bike. But what we need to do is visit this again, because what we need to do is try it at sea level, see what this performance is like. But in terms of what it's like compared to the old bike, it's almost non-comparable, because it's such a big step over the old bike. Thanks again for watching. Thanks Royal Enfield. This has been an epic adventure.